A very warm welcome to this webinar hosted by ET Health World, organized in public interest to create awareness towards spinal well-being by Medtronics on this day of October 16th, which is observed as the World Spine Day. The theme for World Spine Day 2021 is Back to Back. It reflects a need to reset and refocus on spinal pain and disability as part of the global burden of disease. We all have endured the pandemic. From the last 19 months of remote work culture and a sudden shift to the virtual world has unintentionally made us neglect our physical health. Those little tea breaks from work, short walks to meeting rooms, traveling to workplace, and so on, all have vanished. These were all an important part of physical activity, not the regular exercises alone. Suddenly, everything has changed. Our life has changed. It's high time to think and focus on our health before it is too late. Today, on this World Spine Day, we have invited a panel of experts across India from the medical fraternity, and we will try to bust some common myths. Critical knowledge will be disseminated, and healthy practices will be established for the spinal health. The key to an empowered life is being healthy. Now, we all know that an estimated of 570 million people across the globe suffer with low back pain at any given point of time, and it still remains the leading cause of years lived with disability. We have a wonderful set of panelists among us. We have Dr. Imtiaz. We welcome you, Dr. Imtiaz. He is a senior consultant orthopedic and spine surgeon from Apollo Hospitals, Chennai. Dr. Arvind Kulkarni, senior spine surgeon from Mumbai. Dr. Sudhir Dubey is the director and head of minimally invasive surgery, Vedanta Medicity Hospital, and Dr. Deepak Joshi, the additional director of spine surgery from Fortis Hospital, Mohali. Welcome, gentlemen. And let's open the forum for the discussion. And my first question here is, what is this importance? Why do we celebrate or why do we observe a World Spine Day? What is the need for it? And what does it mean to all of you? Let's start with Dr. Imtiaz.
Thank you, Dr. Murali. Um, the main reason behind we creating an awareness for World Spine Day is like to make people understand that the myths about spine surgery has to be taken off. They should understand that spine surgery is perfectly safe and it has advanced beyond what we can think over the past 20 years. Like I would say initially from what it has and today what we are dealing with is like phenomenal. There's a huge chunk of difference that has been happening, and we are able to do much safer surgeries and make people know that people have to understand basically how to maintain their spinal health. That's the first thing. What are the postures like the spinal ergonomics when we say what are the postures they need to adopt at their workplace or at their home, because we see a lot of IT professionals, and we also see that during this pandemic period everything has become virtual and people are almost all into meetings like Zoom and stuff. So it's like they keep sitting for long hours. Okay, and the posture that they're going to adopt is really, really important as far as maintaining spinal health is concerned. That's the first and foremost thing. So we need to educate the general public as to how they need to adopt that. The second thing is about the diet patterns that people need to follow in order to diet, and the exercises that they need to, physical activity, what we are talking about, which is like really important. The third thing that like we are really concerned is when a patient needs to approach a doctor, like a spine surgeon or a neurosurgeon, or an orthopedic spine surgeon that I mean, like when they need to approach a doctor, when do they try to, when they see some symptoms, like perceiving to this and this situation, then they, what is the emergency situation that they need to really approach a doctor? That's one thing they need to understand. And also taking self-medications, what are the harmful effects that are going to happen, like taking too many painkillers, just like that, going to a medical shop and getting things done. So are these really good as far as like your spinal health is concerned and things like that? So these are the things that we need to educate the general public. So back to back, okay? Starting from your conservative line of therapy. When I say conservative line, I mean all medications, like the physiotherapy and stuff, and like to the point where a patient needs surgery or not. So those are the things. So that's the main idea behind creating this awareness program.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Dr. Arvind?
Principally, Dr. Imtiaz has elaborated on this. If you want me to go to the specifics, what I can say is, thanks to this pandemic, it has brought world's attention to spine. Okay, so when people started staying indoors, they started realizing the importance of spine, because every now and then I used to get this teleconsults for back pain and neck pain, which was actually much more in terms of frequency compared to pre-COVID period. So the ratio of non-operative versus operative. So patients complaining of neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, leg pain all the time. The reason being, everyone got used to unaccustomed work, which they never did before. So things which were done by their maids, people started doing those things. People started sitting in front of televisions, in front of Zoom, for Zoom meetings in front of laptops, computers for prolonged periods. Kids started phenomenal increase in kids having symptoms of neck pain and back pain, which is otherwise not seen. This is all a result of being indoors and being stuffed in one corner in front of rectangular objects like whether it is your TV, mobile, or your laptop. So going to specifics, so you need to understand that spine is very, very important. So as I said, it brought spine to the world's attention. So you need to handle it with care. Okay, it is a machine which works all the time, whether you sleep, sit, stand, walk, lie down. So it is a continuously working machine. So you need to give it due respect to its activity and its position in your day-to-day activities. So when you sit in front of a laptop, use a reclined chair. Don't sit, with a stood posture. Keep getting up every now and then. Stretch your back. Use a modular system wherein you can stand for some time. Organize such kind of ergonomics wherever you're doing it. Get exposed to sunlight. Walk within your house. So these are all the advices which we gave. And when it, especially as you know, phone has revolutionized our world for the worse. So you have something called the phone neck, where you keep drooping your neck in front of the phone. Phone is the god in front of which you're hanging your neck 24/7. That causes significant neck related symptoms. So awareness about all this is what was one of the byproduct of COVID. So I don't know whether this will continue, and once they're back to their routine activities, people will forget about it.
Hopefully not. And thank you so much, Dr. Arvind, for highlighting the importance of ergonomics and posture. Dr. Deepak Joshi, a few words on the World Spine Day theme, back to back.
So I think it has been well explained by Dr. Imtiaz and Dr. Arvind. I think from my point of view, the spine is basically a very neglected topic by most of us. And it is the most common problems everyone faces. No one in your lifetime can escape a spine-related issues. And by having a spine day, we get an opportunity to basically inform our audience, inform the people that that there are symptoms, there are some problems which have to be taken care of. There are specialists which can take care of it, who can give you the right guidance. And then and getting back to the basics, that having you basically, what I feel is that we humans are not supposed to live a life which we're living right now. We are living an artificial life. We were basically hunter gatherers to being agriculturists. I remember my grandfather going to the villages, getting up early in the morning, walking down to the field and working there and coming back and taking proper rest. And they didn't have much back pain and neck pain. But now, with, as Dr. Arvind has said, having a phone neck and all those things, it's high time we get back to the basics. We get aware of our own body and understand that spine is something which can be very helpful. At the same time, neglecting it can be very unforgiving. Yes.
Rightly said so. If you look at it, we humans were never designed to lead the life the way we are leading right now. We were supposed to be hunters and gatherers, rightly said. But if you realize, right from the age of 4, we are sitting. We started sitting at the age of 4 when we went to school, probably now at 1.5, 2 years. And we are sitting until today, and we will sit for the rest of the life. Whereas life is all about movement. Movement is life. We need an adequate balance between movement and rest, which we are not giving. And back to back 2 years of pandemic has really had its toll. Dr. Sudhir, you have a few thoughts on this?
See, the spine burden, as we have all our panelists have discussed, is quite a huge burden. And you have multiple modalities of treatment, from natural, from traditional, to people who are quacks, and everybody is treating these problems. Everybody plays on the natural history of the disease, where 70% of the spinal pains just over a period of time disappears. But our focus for the spine is the people who are having constant pains and aches. Have to take painkillers, they have to skip work. So for them, the awareness is very important. And I think for those people, a panel like this is very important. And as we have discussed that our lifestyles have changed, hunter-gatherers, agriculturists, moving, non-moving, mobile, to becoming fixed on a screens, either mobile or computer, has really changed all of us. So what it's doing is that awareness, one is for prevention, that we prevent such disorders from coming to the younger population or even the older population. And second is, there is hope, because previously spine thing was frowned upon, a surgery was, people were scared of. So now a lot of things have moved, and in both in non-conservative measures, non-conservative measures, minimal measures, there's a wide spectrum, and which you can tailor it according to the patient's symptoms, needs, and wants. So with that, I think the World Spine Day, the time for it has come, because we need to focus on the disease burden to prevent it and as well as treat it.
Thank you so much. So, dear viewers, here all our panelists are emphasizing the importance of spine as an organ, a machine which was otherwise neglected. And this whole pandemic scenario has brought this topic back to the forefront. Spine needs its due importance. We need to nurture it. It is very important to stay healthy, and movement is life. So, moving on, now spinal surgeries. There are many myths around it. People fear going to a doctor. They just don't want to take a scan because they fear surgery after it. And the reason for fear being paralysis issues. They feel the problems start with surgery. Now, I want to quickly do a reality check. Dr. Imtiaz, what are your opinion on this? How would you address this?
So as far as like the newer concepts of spinal surgery has been happening, see, as I told you earlier, patients who come, they're really, really skeptical about getting a surgery right away. The reason being, I would say, like, see, there are two things that we can consider. One thing is, like, generally, suppose a patient goes to another doctor and he suggests that, like, no, immediately you have to go for a surgery. They start to get alarmed. But the real fact is, okay, they would genuinely require surgery, and the doctor would have suggested the same. But then, like, they want to try all alternate modalities of treatment. But what we need to understand is, all modalities of treatment, starting from allopathic, homeopathic, Ayurveda, and acupuncture, and whatever other modalities of treatment are there, they are only there to treat your symptoms, but not the cause. That is, your pain can get alleviated or can get better, whatever. But then the cause, the source of the problem remains the same. So patients keep coming and telling, doctor, like, I had this problem. So similar to me, there was another neighbor of mine who had this issue. So he was treated by a physiotherapist or a chiropractor, and he was like, fine. But then they don't really understand the cause is not the same, and it varies from one individual to the other. And one patient might be treated conservatively and the other one might require surgery. So they start thinking that, no, we as doctors, I would say, like, as spine surgeons or neurosurgeons, we are not pushing them into surgery. Is first thing that patients should understand. The second thing that they should understand is, if there is a significant problem and the doctor is suggesting something, of course, like, there is a time frame. Okay, we say that as the golden period. So if there is a significant symptom that the patient is facing and the doctor is suggesting something, they should really consider that and proceed accordingly. One thing. And as I was talking about safe spine surgery, now things have advanced so much that like we are able to do surgeries with minimal blood loss. Now, earlier we didn't have microscopes for surgeries. Now we have really, really advanced microscopes. We have other machines like we use in the operating theater. We have robots that have started coming, which makes life much easier in people who have hunched back. And when we do major surgeries like scoliosis, what we call as hunchback, like kyphosis, which we call as hunchback, and scoliosis, like when there's a bend in the curvature of the spine. So these things have made life much easier. And it earlier it used to be like patient post surgery, they'll have to be in the hospital for maybe 1 week, 10 days, 15 days. They'll keep them completely in bed rest. But these days, situation is totally different. We do microsurgeries these days, and the patient gets discharged the same evening or the next day. Things have advanced so well. And even in major deformity surgeries like the hunchback surgeries that we do, patient gets discharged in the third or fourth post-operative day. So that is the amount of thing, and much of importance is given to the safety of the patient. So earlier we don't know like how, of course, okay, every surgery has a risk factor of say around 2 to 3%. Of course, so we'll have to weigh which is going to be beneficial, okay, because we'll have to give the patient a quality of life. A healthy quality of life is what they need. Okay, we don't want them to see with this sort of back pain or neck pain or any paralytic issues for the rest of their life. And so that is when we try to give them the best solution. And so I think like people should start understanding that fact and proceed accordingly.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Imtiaz. Spine surgery is safe. Thanks for emphasizing that. And it is not just pain or pain alleviation. We need to know the diagnosis. So diagnosing the cause of pain so that we prevent any neurological complication is a must. Thanks for reiterating the importance behind it. And as you rightly said, minimally invasive surgery has changed. There's a paradigm shift in towards our outlook of spine surgery, including reduction of the cost. Thank you so much. My next question is to Dr. Arvind. We just spoke about the pandemic and its effect. People have now stayed back at home for almost 2 years. Disturbed sleep, disturbed work schedule, no socializing. Moreover, even if they have a pain, they fear to come out to even to get diagnosed or treat. So work from home has complicated scenario here. And what is your opinion on spine care in terms of diagnosis and disease incidence? Is there a real rise in incidence of spine issues because of the pandemic that we are facing?
Yeah, as I elaborated earlier, I think the question is in a different, the answer is the same, it is in a different frame. So because of inherent issues related to being stuffed at home, poor posture, lack of exercise, poor exposure to sunlight, all across the board, kids, women, men, they all have been having neck pain, back pain. So the only what I'd like to emphasize is, the red flags. So signs and symptoms suggest you of malignancy in the spine or infection in the spine or trivial falls which were neglected during the pandemic, which can have severe proportions if not diagnosed early. These are something that that the patient should be aware of. These severe debilitating back pain, inability to get out of your bed or your chair, constitutional symptoms in terms of weight loss, fever, etc. Neurological symptoms, weakness in extremities, incontinence. These are the things which one shouldn't neglect. Being at home, you should immediately get exposed to either your GP or a spine surgeon. And if you're not satisfied with one, because these teleconsults can be very, relative in terms of perception between different doctors. So if you're not happy with one doctor with regards to teleconsult, and if you really want to emphasize your symptoms, when such kind of symptoms arise, make it a point to bring it to the notice of someone and get treated.
Rightly said so. Red flags, very important. We shouldn't ignore. Teleconsultation, yes, but the physical examination and diagnosis definitely are important. Thank you, sir, for it. Now, with technological disruption, we have come a long way in all sectors. As far as medical sector is concerned, there are many surgical and non-surgical spinal treatments. How far have we developed in this field, Dr. Sudhir?
The thing is, now what has happened over a period of time is, as we are progressing, we have become more and more minimalistic in our approaches. So when we operate on a particular level of spine, We won't, except for a skin incision, we won't be damaging any of the musculatures. Let the muscles breathe. We will not cause more of any bony disruption. Only the pathologies will be addressed in a minimalistic fashion. So one thing is miniaturization and minimalism has come into spine surgery. The second thing is because patients either we have started doing the procedures under local anesthesias where we get patients to do the leg movement so we know their sensations and their power is normal. The second thing is we also have in them, we keep a monitoring, we put electrodes on the brain and we are monitoring continuously during the surgery whether their neurological functions are intact. Third, as our mobile technology, as our navigation technologies in the world have grown, and these have also been adapted to neurosurgical and orthopedic procedures, spine procedures, in which you know exactly with a 1 millimeter precision what exact point in the body you are, and you can do the surgery more safely, being more confident, and with causing less disruption or collateral damage to any of the vital structures which are present. The fourth thing is there is also intraop imaging which has become available. Intraoperative imaging helps us to do the things once we have done the surgery before closure. We can do the procedure, we can check on our procedures and do it. Robotics have also come in the fore, and in robotics, what has happened is that little bit of human error which creeps in, that also we are trying to do this. So a lot of advancements with a lot of technological backup has come into these spinal practices, which has made the spinal surgery safer, more effective, and it has become more precise. So in the end, it leads to a very good outcome for the patient, and the patient's mobility is ensured as soon as possible, even on the same day or on the next day of the surgery. And the discharges also have become very less. The blood losses, the other secondary factors because of these kind of surgeries have become very less. So that has been the most important changes which have happened in the past 1 or 2 decades.
Thank you so much. So, dear viewers, technological revolution and surgical outcome goes hand in hand. So, here we speak about surgical navigation, robotics, minimally invasive surgery, which has changed the dimension of spinal outcome. Now, Dr. Deepak, we've been speaking about spinal surgery, treatment for spinal ailments. Now, for those healthy people who don't want to visit a doctor, now we have seen the back-to-back pandemic having its toll. What would your advice be? How do we take care? How do we nurture our spine on a daily basis for all our audience?
That's a very complicated thing because uh, because I get patients, who say we go to the gym and then still I have a back pain, and then I do everything. I do yoga, pranayam, and I still have a back pain. And, it is very difficult to have one complete answer for that. But I think it's the overall fitness, which is the most important thing. I think as in everything, we should know our limitations. There are people who are more prone to back pain. There are more people who are more prone to neck pain. There are people who cannot sit in one position for long. So you have to identify and accept and not compare ourselves with others, first of all. Number two is that, morning walks, I think, is the most important thing, and a little bit of jogging. Sometimes we feel that we are doing all the houseworks, especially the female, they'll be doing all the housework, but that does not, because they are just managing and they're not doing all the housework like sweeping or, we need to move all the body parts. So we need to have endurance as well as flexibility, because both the things are key, not only power, but also flexibility. And I think moving all the body parts, doing regular exercises, not sitting in one position for long, identifying our limitations and increasing the flexibility. Maybe, yoga for that matter is a very good idea, introducing things like yoga in our practice, and not immediately, going to for example, we have a sedentary lifestyle, and then all of a sudden we decide, okay, now I want to be fit, and then go to any place and then start doing things which you have never done before, and then get self into a worse situation. So I think it's a stepwise manner. I think the kids should be introduced early into managing their back. For example, they should be taught to be physically fit rather than being on a couch, and then they should be trained into given be time to go to do sports. And I think being physically fit is the key to maintain your back, and then identifying the issues early. Suppose you have signs and symptoms of any nerve press like numbness, tingling, any difficulty in walking, a lot of pain, then it's time to go to a doctor immediately, especially a spine specialist, so that you get a proper treatment rather than when the things become worse.
So knowing one's limitation, very important. Supervised exercises and movement is life. Thank you so much. These are golden words for everyone to follow routinely on everyday basis so that we can nurture our spine. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Truly, it was a powerful discussion with much advice and important insights. I'm sure our viewers got answers to many of their questions. I, on behalf of the ET Health World team and Medtronics, would like to thank all the panelists for giving us your time and important updates. Thank you all participants for joining this webinar. Hope you all are aware of the importance of being physically active. Mobility, movement is life. Take good care of your spine, keep exercising, and don't forget to smile. I'm Dr. Murli Mohan here. I'm a practicing spine consultant at Bangalore Sagar Hospitals. Thank you.